As you hear the theme tune slowly fading away into the background, it's time for me to say hello, my spooky friends, and welcome to the Paranormal Tourists. It is episode 5, and if you missed episode 4, which was called The Pin-Spitting Witch versus the Crumpet, you can go back and listen again. You can find us amongst other places on Cotswolds Radio's Mixcloud, but first, listen to this week's show. If it's your first time listening to The Paranormal Tourist, then let me explain. Each week, we give you tales of the supernatural, but more importantly, we talk about places that you can visit, hopefully for free, and also give you details about ghost hunts that you can go on, and spooky things to see and do throughout not only the Cotswolds, but also slightly further afield. All served up with a healthy dose of folk songs and spooky music to occupy your time as you travel to your destinations. After all, we are the Paranormal Tourists. Well, that's the introduction over with, and now straight into the show with updates on last week's show, as I was sent some information about a highwayman ghost near Astle on the old Burford to Witney road. Before the A40 dual carriageway was built, the main road between Witney and Burford was what is now the B4047. A particular stretch of this road, close to the Astle turn, is said to be haunted by the ghost of a highwayman known as Black Stockings. The figure has been seen both on horseback and on foot, but always dressed completely in black in the garb of the 18th century. So we're assuming that black stockings were all the rage in the 18th century, and not just some weird fetish that this highwayman had. According to Joe Robinson's Oxfordshire Ghosts, now I will recommend there are other Oxfordshire ghost books available, one particularly good one by Ross Andrews. In life, the highwayman lived in the hamlet of Worsham, I'm not entirely sure how it's pronounced, but it's Worsham, a few miles to the east, and has been witnessed by late-night car travellers, and in recent memory, now that is in recent memory in Joe Robinson's Oxfordshire Ghosts, and I don't have it in front of me, I can't tell you when it was printed, but the most famous highwaymen in this area were probably Tom, Dick, and Harry, and this is where we get the names Tom, Dick and Harry. Tom, Dick and Harry Dunsdon, and they terrorised the Burford area during the 18th century, and we've briefly mentioned these guys before, and we probably will again many times. So could Black Stockings in fact be one of the notorious Dunsdon brothers? The name Black Stockings may well have inspired the legends around famous highwayman Dick Turpin, because he's often referred to as Dick Turpin, has been called Black Stockings, and there's a few other ones who have as well, and they're kind of all the myths about highwaymen kind of get merged together. The famous story of Dick Turpin riding north and getting hundreds of miles away and having a witness saying he couldn't have committed a crime because he was somewhere else was actually probably a different highwayman called Swift Nick, who, if you watch the old TV series, was a friend of Dick Turpin's. Anyway, it's all myth and legend all gets merged together. But, according to West Country Outlaws, Highwaymen and Rogues by Richard Pierce, one of Turpin's first crimes was the theft of a racehorse named White Stockings. Hence, Black Stockings, White Stockings could all be sort of mixed together. We don't know. Catherine M. Briggs in Folklore of the Cotswolds. Well, you can tell I've done a lot of reading this week. Folklore of the Cotswolds provides two alternative explanations for this haunting. And in one version that was told to Briggs by locals, Black Stockings was a spirit who stopped horses and pulled their riders off their backs. However, the same source also told Briggs that this was merely a story put about by actual highwaymen, presumably to generate fear and discourage the law from hunting for them so they could continue their highway robbery in peace. Highwaymen were also notorious for telling stories about ghosts, telling stories about the supernatural and the devil and so on, so that it would avoid people trying to actually track them down or go out in the dark looking for them. And this was another tactic used by smugglers as well, where they would say somewhere was haunted, or there were monsters, or there were whatever living in a cave, so that you didn't go to the cave and find all the stuff that they'd stolen. Anyway, we've been talking for 5 minutes. We've not had a song yet. As you know, if you've listened to this show, we find local folk songs, or we write folk songs. And if you've never listened to this show before, you won't know that this show is packed full of songs about supernatural, spooky things. So this song is called Black Stockings and is about a highwayman. So you couldn't really get a better place to play it.
screams. He always rides alone but fills my lustful dreams. Black stockings high, boots worn and cracked, his shadow's gone down well-worn tracks. Black stockings, highway is his home. Through the mist and through the night, forever he will roam. Black stockings, outfit that he wore. He'll steal your heart and then your gold, and then he's gone once more. Whispers follow him like shadows in the wood. The law just cannot catch him, the robber is no good. Loves, then he leaves, laughter cuts the air. The devil still would envy the danger that he wears. Who is he? They cry once more, but no one really knows. For black stockings, highway is his home. Through the mist and through the night, forever he will roam. Black stockings, outfit that he wore. He'll steal your heart and then your gold, and then he's gone once more. Steal your heart and then your gold, and then he's gone once more.
Well, there we have Black Stockings and the Notorious Highwaymen, who we don't actually know who they are, but it could be one of the Dunstan brothers, Tom, Dick, or Harry, possibly. It could be Dick Turpin. It could be a multitude of others. Anyway, Tom, Dick, and Harry, who we talked about earlier, they were the terror of West Oxfordshire in the late 18th century. Raised in Fulbrook, these three men turned to a life of crime, and their exploits became the stuff of legend in all the small towns and villages that were all over the countryside and throughout the Cotswolds. The brothers were highwaymen. They were robbing travellers on the Oxford to Gloucester road with ruthless efficiency. They were superb at their job. There was three of them, so they did better than the odd highwaymen on their own. So before disappearing into the dense cover around sort of Witchland Forest area, they would often be robbing everybody that went down there. Now, they don't be fooled by the sort of romantic image of this sort of Robin Hood character, somebody robbing the rich and being gentlemen of the road. They were quite brutal, nasty pieces of work, a lot of the highwaymen were. And one of the most infamous acts that they actually managed to do was the robbery of the Oxford to Gloucester mail coach, from which they made off with £500, which was absolute fortune in those days. But that's not the one that actually did them in. The one that did them in the end was a bungled attempt to rob Tingle Manor. And that would pretty much ruin their career, should we say, because during the raid, Dick Dunstan lost an arm. And I don't just mean it fell off and then they traced it using fingerprints. No, there was a brutal skirmish during which basically his arm got severed off. And after that night, for some reason, he was never seen again. Pretty much likely to be dead, leaving just Tom and Harry. And they continued their criminal careers without their brother, but not particularly for very long. So he must have been the one that was very good at keeping an eye out. And so their luck didn't hold, and their end came when they shot a pub landlord during an altercation. Though the landlord did actually survive the attack, but the brothers, because he survived, were quickly captured by onlookers, and obviously he could turn around and go, yep, that was them, and they were handed over to the authorities. They were tried and convicted. They were executed at Gloucester, but their story does not end there. For the bodies of Tom and Harry Dunstan were returned to Oxfordshire and gibbeted from an oak tree near Fulbrook. Now, we have talked about this before, and a gruesome display was left there rotting away to deter others from following in their life of crime. The Dunstan brothers still had not found peace after this, because locals claim that their ghosts haunt the tree where their bodies were hanged, and their spectral forms have been swaying in the wind in the middle of the night. But the former George Inn in Burford, when we've talked about Burford before, and I think we've mentioned this one once or twice, it's one of their favourite haunts, apparently, and it's also supposedly frequented by many other ghosts. And the former George Inn now is not the current George Inn. It's now an antique shop. So if you want to go in there, pretend to be buying antiques and have a look around and pull out an EMF meter whilst you're doing it. Now, the building dates back to the 15th century and was a coaching inn until 1837. And it was here that the Dunstan brothers would often meet to plan their crimes. So it was their favourite haunt, as it were. It's not just that the person transporting their bodies also stopped there after their deaths. Whether that was some kind of way of taking the mickey out of them, or whether that was done just by pure luck, we don't know. Anyway, they don't seem to have left that pub and have been haunting again. So if you're in the Burford area, that's where you might see them. You might also see them on the road as three separate highwaymen. Now, after the famous incident in which Tom and Harry supposedly severed Dick's arm because it somehow got injured, and the only way they could escape was and save his life was by chopping off his arm, which didn't actually work because Dick was never seen again, and it's pretty much assumed by everyone that he died from his injuries, although Tom and Harry never actually said that's what happened. Anyway, their brothers carried on their criminal crimes. Criminal crimes? How many other types of crimes are there? Carried on their crimes until they were hanged themselves. But that's where we get this Tom, Dick and Harry. By the way, if you're abroad, I don't know if Tom, Dick and Harry is a thing, but we say every Tom, Dick and Harry, meaning anybody. And also the tunnels in World War II, I think it's The Great Escape, they get named Tom, Dick and Harry, the three tunnels that they use. Anyway, who cares? That's got nothing to do with the paranormal. Hopefully you're going to get to see these ghosts, but until we do, let us find a song about Tom, Dick and Harry. Now, the building, which we said the George Inn, is now an antique centre, and it's still, apparently, I'm still getting the odd report, it's still apparently plagued by eerie, unexplained noises and scrapes and banging sounds when the building should be empty. So if you're walking past there late at night and you hear banging noises, it might not be the owner sort of clumping around and doing stuff. It might be those spooks. And if you've got a dog, they are supposedly said to growl and stare as if watching some invisible person inside the building. Anyway, it could be Tom, it could be Dick, it could be Harry. All three of them feature in this song.
Three highwaymen rode through the night. Tom, Dick and Harry, three creatures spied. With swords that gleamed and an evil laugh, they robbed the rich on their wicked path. But the gallows wait, shadows grow, fate don't care which way you go. Tom, Dick and Harry, their names will fade. Three lost souls in the devil's trade, one by blade, two by rope. Gone with the wind, gone without hope. Their life was a tale, it ain't no joke. Tom, Dick and Harry, they got no hope. Dick lost his arm in a bloody fray. His life bled out with the break of day. Tom held him close, but the silence fell. Harry with a tear then said farewell. Oh, Tom, Dick and Harry, their names will fade. Three lost souls trade, one by blade, two by rope. Gone with the wind, gone without hope. Their life was a tale, it ain't no joke. Tom, Dick and Harry, they got no hope. Rusty chains and the judge's glare. Tom and Harry stood in the square. The rope was tight, the crowd stood still. A cold wind howled on the empty hill. Oh, Tom, Dick, and Harry, their names will fade. Three lost souls in the devil's trade, one by blade, two by rope. Gone with the wind, gone without hope. Their life was a tale, it ain't no joke. Tom, Dick, and Harry, they got no hope. Oh, Tom, Dick, and Harry, their names will fade. Three lost souls in the devil's trade, one by blade, two by rope. Gone with the wind, gone without hope. Their life was a tale, it ain't no joke. Tom, Dick, and Harry, they got no hope.
Well, we're going to be talking a lot about places in the Cotswolds, but also a lot of stuff in the sort of south Cotswold area and just over the border. So this is a Gloucestershire place we've got coming up here, and that's Almondsbury, and it has been part of Gloucestershire and part of Avon and part of other places. But anyway, Almondsbury, which some people would say Cotswolds, but it's technically over the border, but still within Gloucestershire, right down at the bottom there. Now, there's a steep hill which seems to divide Almondsbury into two parts. At the foot of the hill is, unsurprisingly, Lower Almondsbury. At the top of the hill, Almondsbury. Anyway, looking at this part of the Severn Estuary, we notice that the land here is shaped like a bowl, and that's the reason for the pub's name, apparently. And not because of any sporting connection of bowling or cricket. Now, which pub are we talking about? Well, it must be the Bowl Inn. Not the bowling, the Bowl Inn. Now, this old inn was created partly by combining three cottages, which were originally built way back in 1146 to house the holy men. By holy men, we mean men who were apparently holy, like monks. These monks were in this building due to the Church of St. Mary, and they needed somewhere to live. Now, in my investigations of any pubs, there's always some kind of link to monks somewhere around about there. But it became a licensed inn back in 1550. The church itself is not the original that these monks would have seen, and has seen later building work, and a lead-covered spire was added later, but before 1619. So we're talking some very old buildings around here. Now, the Bowl Inn ghost, well, if you think you're coming to Almondsbury for the famous almonds, do not bother. The name of the area is supposed to emanate from the word ailmond or eelmond and birrig or borough, which altogether means nothing more interesting than the terminal or an enclosed space. When researching ghosts in Gloucestershire, it gets complicated, as we were talking about the boundary changes, and at one point Lower Almondsbury was part of the county of Avon. It's now back in the hands of Gloucestershire, and most of Gloucestershire is in the Cotswolds. And the ghost that inhabits this pub was a Gloucestershire citizen back in 1708. Now, how is it that we can be so precise with our dates and our dating here, I hear you ask? Well, the reason is we think we know who this ghost is. We think this spectre is a young French child who died in the village. A previous landlord's daughter not only saw her in the 1970s, but also heard her reciting nursery rhymes. And one assumes that the French connection would have meant that they were either French nursery rhymes or that she had an accent of some description. The girl's name was Elizabeth Moran, and she had a brother, John, which is a bit of a weird name, Jean Moran, and there is a plaque in the local churchyard which reads, "Their father, a poor man, born in the parish of Dauphin in the Kingdom of France, believes that his sins were the cause that God took the life of his children." Oh dear. Obviously, we see a young death in this sad family, and more sad that someone should attribute such ill fortune to a mythical deity. It is believed that the sins to which the father refers were the maltreatment of the girl under his hand, and so she has returned to haunt the village. The ghost is not the only spirit that the pub claims to have, for there are at least 2 other women reported here, but their identity is unknown. So sadly we have some ghosts in search of a name. Head that way, do some seances, see if you can come up with who these people are.
The taps still drip like tears on the stone. A spirit by the bar alone softly whispers the voice unknown. Who knows my name? Who can recall? Did I matter? Matter at all? A ghost in the pub, just a face in the hole. My history lost, it's such a shame. I am the ghost with no name. The mirror cracks but won't reflect a life unlived, a soul unchecked, a forgotten past I can't correct. I call, I cry, I shout in vain. Can someone here just say what's my name? Knows my name? Who can recall? Did I matter here? Did I matter at all? A ghost in the pub, just a face in the hole. My history lost, it's such a shame. I am the ghost with no name. A tankard raised a fleeting cheer, but no one sees I'm standing near, and no one cares that I'm haunting here. Who knows my name? Who can recall? Did I matter here? Did I matter at all? A ghost in the pub, just a face in the hole. My history lost, it's such a shame. I am the ghost with no name. My legend lost, I have no fame. I am the ghost with no name.
as we said, if you find out who the ghost is, please get in touch. A few people have actually got in touch about some hauntings they want me to look into, and you can email the show at paranormaltourists@hotmail.com. Contact us with your stories about places, particularly in the Cotswolds, or anywhere that you'd like us to investigate or know more about. Now, we're going to head slightly north of where we were there to a place called Amberley. Now, I do have a soft spot for Amberley for one major reason. It's the name of the publishers of my first 3 books. That being Paranormal Cheltenham, Paranormal Forest of Dean, and Paranormal Oxfordshire, all published by Amberley Publishing. There are 2 haunted Amberley inns, however, the Black Horse Inn and the Amberley Inn. The stories that I've heard from the Black Horse are my favourite for the reason that the landlord was a skeptic. Skeptics always make the best witnesses, as they often do not wish to believe in ghosts, and so go through all possible explanations that they can before they come to the paranormal explanations. He experienced many strange noises and happenings, which included the disembodied sound of footsteps, of coughing, and also the sound of things and people moving around in what were empty rooms. I've experienced very similar things, not in this building, but it's very, very difficult to explain to people because they say, oh, perhaps it's an old building just creaking or whatever, and there's a very distinct sound of somebody moving around, or furniture being moved, or noises that shouldn't be there. And it's impossible to explain to people who've never heard it that it doesn't sound like a creaky floorboard or a door expanding in the cold. Now, anyway, he heard a lot of these strange noises, and the Amberley Inn ghost, however, is thought to be more dashing and daring as just a squeaky, noisy ghost. It's claimed to be that of a, yes, you've guessed it, a highwayman. Yes, it's our highwayman special this week. Now, thankfully in Gloucestershire, we don't have any history that I'm aware of linking us to Dick Turpin. And every time I've heard about a highwayman ghost in areas that Dick Turpin has the loosest connection to, then the ghost is always presumed to be his. So here, we'd be clutching at straws if we said it's got something to do with Dick Turpin. Now, in the top 10 famous ghosts, Anne Boleyn must be number 1, haunting more places than anywhere else in the entire known universe, followed by Dick Turpin, and probably then King Charles I as well. Now, the highwayman is supposedly called Tom Long, who had an affair with the landlord's daughter. The landlord, thinking that maybe a highwayman was probably not a particularly good influence on his kith and kin, decided to forbid his daughter from seeing this particular criminal, which was advantageous, as Tom was supposedly hanged at Minchinhampton Common, at a site now marked by a signpost called Tom Long's Post. Now, one of the ghosts probably is not him, however, as a guest who was staying at the inn was in his bathroom when he sensed a presence and a feeling of dread. He later learned of a man who'd slit his wrists and committed suicide in this room. Now, this poor unfortunate soul who took his own life quite possibly experienced other hauntings, and there's a history of hauntings in buildings of suicide victims, and if a particular building has had a suicide in it, then sometimes that leads to other suicides as well. And it's a kind of almost like a branch of, if you've ever heard of sick building syndrome. It's like it accumulates feelings, and people coming into that building who are feeling depressed and suicidal kind of pick up on that emotion, and it pushes them over the edge. Sorry to be talking about suicide and depressing things, so let's get back to less depressing things with ghosts. I don't know if that's less depressing. Anyway, people have reported seeing an indentation on the beds in this place, as though something's just sat down on it, and a female member of staff who slept in the room claimed that the sheets were being held down and could not move. Now, that could possibly be an indication of sleep paralysis and hagging, and we're going to have an entire episode on that at some point, with the whole incubus and succubus ghosties. Other staff in this building have reported unusual activity throughout the inn, and claiming that various objects such as pillowcases and keys have been impossibly taken or moved, and like all pub ghosts, they seem to interfere with the taps, turning them on and off. Now, I'm speaking very quickly this week because I've got a lot of spooks that I actually want to cram into the show, and you'll notice they all begin with A today, so that ain't going to last for much longer because we're going to Avening. That's AV. We can't have many more A's left. Avening in Gloucestershire. Now, this is a bit of a strange one. How would you like your stones to tingle? I'm not entirely sure I can say that, but anyway, at evening we're looking for the long stone and the tingle stone, because at midnight these stones are said to run around their fields as the clock strikes 12. Now this one seems to me a rather easy one to investigate and disprove. Bizarrely, it's technically impossible to prove a negative, so what we can actually prove is that on the day in the investigation the stone refused to run around because you were staring at it, and stones have a tendency to not be particularly cooperative if you're staring at them trying to get them to move. Right, so I've got a website here, and it's www.megalithic.co.uk, where it's talking about this stone. Probably the remains of a chambered long barrow with a single stone now standing on top of the usual lumpy, bumpy mound in the Gatcombe Park estate, home of Princess Anne. Right, so this is why it's a bit of a problem to actually investigate this one. But go south from the long stone, take the right fork. After half a mile there is a track on the right. It's a bit bumpy, so be careful. After about 200 yards, look to the right. In the middle of the field there are some trees on a hump. There you will find the Tingle stone. The land belongs to Gatcombe Park, but there seems to be a footpath. It is noted that visitors here are often visited by members of the local constabulary. Who are they? I don't know. Perhaps they are related to the local constabulary, who I'm actually talking about. And they'll turn up as they're keeping, obviously, a tight watch on the security and all the land in the surrounding area in Gatcombe Park. So it's probably best to stick to that footpath. So, what is the Tingle stone? Well, apart from being on a royal estate, making it very difficult to get to, it's thought to tingle if you touch it. People claiming you can feel the magical power flowing through it. Now, it stands aloft at 6 foot tall, and it's all the remains of an ancient burial site. And one thing of note here is that dowsers have claimed to feel a tingle of electricity when dowsing in the area. However, the name predates these reports, and we don't know where it came from. It might be a mistranslation of an ancient word, but feel free to get tingly in the woods and see if you can experience that one. Personally, I never felt anything when I was there, other than the gaze of security people walking towards me as we ventured from the footpath. So instead, not far from here, is another magical stone near Minchinhampton. I know that doesn't begin with A, but we're in the area. So the Long Stone. Go back to the Long Stone where we talked about there. It's a stone that's got many tails attached to it. I don't mean it's an animal with tails attached to it. I mean, it's got stories. Now, its original use is not really known, but for centuries, this stone was renowned for its healing powers, especially for childhood ailments. Now, parents would take their sickly children down to the stone to then squeeze that child through one of the holes in the stone, so that the healing energies of this stone could be transferred to the child and make them well again. However, if you see how small the actual stones are on this, then those children were probably very, very poorly to be that tiny, and I would not recommend a grown-up giving up on NHS treatment hoping that this is going to work better. Now, there have been other reports that this stone actually moves about the land it's laid on, along with the Tingle stone possibly moving at midnight. There have been tales of those who've tried to remove the stone and have been unable to do so. No matter how many oxen they tie to it and try to pull the thing away. There's a story that this stone is actually a headstone of a Danish ruler who fought in a battle near to where the actual stone is. The story goes that local women made the Danes some poisoned pancakes, and that's how the ruler died. So we got a holy stone commemorating a dead Dane killed by poisoned pancakes. I'm not entirely sure where these rumours come from. Other stories suggest this stone was the site of an ancient battle, and archers shot their arrows through the holes and hid behind it on the stone. Now, there's evidence that this area has had many burial sites within and around it, and there's lots of flint and arrowheads too, so there's got to be some kind of thinking behind these stories. There's obviously... We have a lot of talk about big black hounds and big cats seen, and this big black hound has glowing red eyes as well. Now, they've been reported for decades, and well, even further back, they've been hundreds of years. And if you go back to our previous episodes, you'll hear us talking about these alien big cats and big dogs all over the country. Now, If you visit this stone, follow the southwest road out of Minchinhampton, and let's play a song to cover the time it takes you to get there, to play this on loop for weeks until you've decided from sheer insanity that listening to this song is a bad idea. Here's a song about some running stones.
Two stones, they stand, they wait. They wait. The tingle and the long, it's late, it's late. Under the moon, so high and bright, they come alive in the middle of the night. Midnight strikes, they spin, they twirl, round and round, they rock the world. Dancing stones, can't you see? Their rock-hard magic runs wild and free. So dance with me, run wild and free. And still they stand through day, through day. But night arrives to stay, to stay. The tingle leaps, long stone spins, the party starts and the fun begins. Clock ticks 12, the spirit flows. Where they go, nobody knows. Midnight strikes, they spin, they twirl, round and round, they rock the world. Dancing stones, can't you see? Their rock-hard magic runs wild. So dance with me, run wild and free. They run, they jump, they play, they fly beneath the stars, they kiss the sky. Stone by stone, they chase the night. The stones will glow in bright moonlight. Midnight strikes, they spin, they twirl, round and round, they rock the world. Dancing stones, can't you see? Their rock-hard magic runs wild and free. So dance with me, run wild and free. Oh, can't you see a world of magic runs wild and free? So dance with me, run wild and free.
We've also got some roadside ghosties in this area, and some may be the same person, I'm not sure, but we do have a name, which left us more intrigued than satisfied, I guess. Now, a certain member of the Plane family, that's Playne, not aeroplane, they died there in the early 1800s, and he was either murdered or took his own life. We're not entirely sure. That was all the information I managed to find. So if anyone out there knows any more about this, please update us. Then, I'm not sure who it is. It's a Mr. or Mrs. Payne. I can't remember. Please contact me. I can update my records and we can update our listeners out there as well. But the Plane ghost is supposedly seen somewhere in the lane between Weybridge Inn and Minchinhampton. Now, there's a lot of sad stories about suicides this week, and another report is a suicide that haunts the road between Avening and Minchinhampton, so it could be the same person. We're probably talking about the same apparition with the member of the Plains who killed themselves, or even better, we've got two ghosts. I don't entirely know. Now, this leads to the question, what happens if both spirits are wandering around at the same time and spot each other? We could have a new subsection of ghost hunters. We could have ghost spotting ghost spotters. I think that makes sense. I'm not entirely sure. Now, reports of a road ghost between Avening and Minchinhampton claim that the ghost is a woman in a long dress, and witnesses say that she's quite lifelike, as drivers have stopped to offer this person a lift, at which point the figure will vanish. The Cross Inn has a ghost known as William, and that's about all I know about William. I've not been able to find anything out other than the Crossing has a ghost called William, and he resides, as a lot of pub ghosts do, in the cellar. So it's probably fiddling with the taps, as they all seem to do. Now, I think that brings me to the end of the Cotswold ghostly and paranormal tales that I have to hand. That began with A. As I said, if you've got more for me, or some updates, or more information regarding any of the stories from today, if you've been in any way affected by today's issues, please contact us if it's regarding spookies. And you can do that on paranormaltourists@hotmail.com. Now, I'm going to shamelessly plug something now, and that is a ghost hunt that you can come to, especially as Halloween is happening very, very soon. If you go on the website www.stickyproductions.uk and head to the ticket page, you can either click on the ghost hunt section, which will take you to the Halloween ghost hunt here at the Old Prison at Northleach, or you can find some interesting things to take your kids to during half-term week of Halloween, including free stuff. So click on the link for Haunted Half-Term. On the Monday, we've got escape rooms in the prison cells, and they're family-friendly ones. So long as your kids can read and write, then they should be able to do these, or just join in with you solving a lot of the problems. Now, there's also adult ones there in the evenings. Then on Tuesday, we've got escape rooms again, as well as free arts and crafts day. That's just a drop-in day. You just turn up. You might want to check beforehand that we're not overrun by people, but you just join in, and they're making lots of Halloween decorations and weird things going on there. Wednesday, we've got more escape rooms. Also on those days, we tend to have lots of sort of board games and things that kids can play, or you can come along and join in, or around all the tables and chairs in the main gallery. Now, Thursday, obviously we've got escape rooms, but we've also got the Scary Bears Picnic. Now, this is something where you get to build a teddy bear that you can take home, as well as make some Halloween outfits and costumes for the bear. And you're going to get a picnic as well, a little picnic that you get there. You can share that with the bear, or probably more likely eat it yourself. If the bear starts eating the picnic, then we've got something else paranormal happening, and we might broadcast that. Right, but then on Halloween day itself, so this is the Friday the 31st, the prison is hosting the Pumpkin Patch Puzzle. And it's £2 to play, and you wander all over the building trying to solve a particularly puzzling problem using the clues provided, and then you return to the bar area to receive your little bag of trick-or-treat goodies. Then, this is a very busy one, then that evening we have the Cotswolds' greatest night out, that being the Incarcerated Cabaret Halloween show, which also features the band Frankenstein's Lobster, the people who do the theme tune. And if you buy the full ticket, you can also stick around for a ghost hunting night right through till 2 or 3 in the morning. So it's going to be a busy Halloween for all of us. I'm exhausted just telling you about that. I'm going to play a song.
Remember when we carved those pumpkin smiles? Brave little monsters out there running wild. Now the years have passed me on by, but Halloween won't make me cry. No, Halloween won't make me cry. Remember the candy filling our dreams. We swapped them all for movies with screams. I long for the days always gone by, but Halloween won't make me cry. Oh, Halloween will live in my heart. Creepy shadows are fun in the dark. Costumes change, but I feel the same, with different trick-or-treat games. But Halloween won't make me cry. No, Halloween won't make me cry. The houses are old, but there are no ghosts. And the monsters that worry me the most are all the little things that we we have not done, and Halloween will keep me still young. Yes, Halloween will keep me young. Oh, Halloween will live in my heart. Creepy shadows are fun in the dark. Costumes change, but I feel the same, with different trick-or-treat games. But Halloween won't make me cry. No, Halloween won't make me cry. Chocolate melts and memories fade, and by time and years I feel so betrayed. But each Halloween plays its tiny part in keeping the child in my heart. Oh, Halloween will live in my heart. Creepy shadows are fun in the dark. Costumes change, but I feel the same, with different trick-or-treat games. But Halloween won't make me cry. No, Halloween won't make me cry. But Halloween won't make me cry.
Well, we're coming to the end of the show, and I thought I'd run out of A's, but I've quickly found some ghosts in Arlingham from one of our books about the paranormal. I can't even say, I can't speak today. I have no idea what's going on. I am possessed. My mouth has been possessed by the ghosts of the inability to speak. But I'll go back to what I was saying. The Paranormal Tourists Guide. The Paranormal Tourists Guide to the letter A, and places you can visit begin with A. And here's one from Arlingham. So Arlingham, there we're Cotswold adjacent here. So the parish church and vicarage. We've got reports going back many years about hauntings at Arlingham. And unfortunately, most of them revolve around a private residence called Slow House. So we haven't got a chance of investigating that one. But I'm going to write it down and tell you about it, and we'll talk about that one as well. So let's start with Slow House and move on to the parish church, which you can go to. Slow House has an interesting ghost history and includes an exorcism, which, like the majority of exorcisms, was unsuccessful. They generally don't work. The site is rather ancient, as the courtyard was built on Roman remains, and one Roman does remain there, as there is a Roman coffin in the garden at the end, which is an old monastery wall. So we've got all the ingredients for a haunting. All we need now is a murder or two. Anyway, we don't get a murder or a monk or a Roman ghost, but we do have a grey lady. Unfortunately, got no idea who she is. Janet and Don Lacey bought the house back in the early 70s whilst renovation work was carried out. They moved in with their 7 children into the barn opposite it, and it was from that barn that the apparition was first spotted. And she told her story to the Gloucester Journal back in July 15th, here, yes, 1986. She said she has a long grey dress and a grey bonnet. I did a double take, but she was still there. When I looked again, she'd gone. I find this statement interesting for one major feature, that she did a double take. A lot of the time when a ghost is seen, you look away and look back again and it's gone, almost as though by looking away you broke some kind of magic spell and made things disappear. However, these suppositions must be taken lightly, as I have had a lot of experience in newspapers and TV, and just because that is supposed to be a direct quote, it does not mean she actually said it. Often newspapers change a quote to make it shorter or more interesting, or just make it up. And we have to remember that about 90% of what's written in a newspaper is either not true or altered to fit the desires of the reporter or editor to keep their readers happy. That still stands today. Whatever you're reading in the newspaper or seeing from some independent source or whatever, it's generally not true. Just saying that to all those people on the internet who think the earth is flat. Anyway, Mrs. Lacey claimed that this was not the only time the apparition had been spotted, and her tale continued with reports of this entity in her kitchen and on the landing. The ghosts seem to have an affiliation with one of the bedrooms in which their daughters awoke to see the lady watching them before she disappeared. Sadly, we're not sure whether the lady was seen by more than one daughter at any time, as a multiple sighting is of much more interest to us than singular witnesses, and they could be hallucinating. The haunting got stronger, as they tend to do, and poltergeist activity followed. Lighting and electrical problems followed, with lights and switches turning themselves on and off. Windows started opening and pictures fell off walls. This is explained best by the quote attributed to her. One night we came over to the house from the barn to switch off the lights 3 times, and I got so fed up of picking up one picture, I eventually decided to leave it down. The article claims that they were sceptical about ghosts before all of this happened, and my favourite witnesses are the sceptical ones, as you all know, as they rarely jump to the spiritual conclusion before ruling out all normal explanations, and their reports tend to keep to the facts rather than suppositions. Unfortunately, when we're reading about them in newspapers, facts are thin on the ground. But there's another quote. Before I came to live here, I was sceptical as the next person about ghosts, but now I've seen her 3 times and my children have seen her 2, I believe. These are not the first sightings, as researching this tale I found accounts going back to 1757, and the occupants of the house saw a ghostly funeral procession heading their way from down the road. Exactly a year later to the day, the last male heir of the family, John Yate, died. The famous ghost in Arlingham, however, concerns a certain Mrs. Budge, and this is one we might be able to experience. Seen in the church, there was a ghost hunter, or ghost chronicler, back in 1902 by the name of Alice Godfrey, and on June the 18th, she went into the church to look at a particular carving. Sitting in the left-hand front pew was a lady, dressed all in a black gown, and her hair was in a bun under a white lace cap. Alice asked her if she knew where the carving was, and no reply was forthcoming. Instead, she just smiled and vanished. The reports I have seen do not say whether Alice was scared by this apparition at all. It does, however, hint at confusion, and on leaving the church, she turned back and saw the lady once again in her seat. As Alice was walking out of the churchyard, she saw a gardener or someone tending the churchyard and inquired as if he knew anything about the strange woman. He replied, "That's old Mrs. Budge. She was the vicar's housekeeper. She's been dead for many a year now." The reports I've seen do not say that the gardener was surprised, and he seemed to report the identity of the gardener with the gardener reported the identity with such a clarity as though the occurrence was not that rare. Now, other sightings have taken place, and the reports claim that she gives off an icy aura and has been spotted in the vicarage as well as the church. So this is one you might stand a chance of getting to see. There is a field here known as the Spurts, and apparently this name derives from a local pronunciation of the word spirits, and this ghost is supposed to be that of a woman running across the field in some form of nightgown. So there are a couple that you might be able to actually track down in Arlingham there as well. And yes, I know Arlingham isn't technically a Cotswold site, and we've had quite a few that are just over the borders of the Cotswolds, but we are the Cotswold Paranormal Tourists, so we can venture out of the Cotswolds every so often. Well, thank you for coming along this week, and don't forget to get in touch. We want to hear from you, we want to hear some ghost stories, and we'll hopefully see you at Halloween at the old prison in Northleach for a very interesting incarcerated cabaret Halloween show, followed by a ghost hunt. Now, I'm going to do a weird little link here with another show that I do on the radio here, and that is for Stars of the Stage, where we talk to Kitty Ribbons, who is a burlesque performer, and she's got a show on at Gloucester, Blackfriars Priory, which is a haunted venue, and it's on Saturday the 18th of October, and it starts at 7:30, finishes at 8 o'clock. It is called A Night at Blackmore for the Criminally Adventurous. It's a bit of a Halloween show. So if I look at the ticket page here from Cherries on a Cloud and their website, will you seize the opportunity to venture into the mysteries of Blackmore? Join the warden and his intriguing wife as they lead you through an unforgettable journey into a captivating, immersive Halloween theatre experience. Join the warden. I'm saying join the warden again because I'm the warden in this show. This brand new production, uniquely crafted by the talented Kitty Ribbons and Cherries on a Cloud Productions, promises to transport you to a thrilling world of burlesque, mystery, music, comedy, and much more. For the adventurous souls, our immersive seating offers a chance to be part of the action with live actors interacting with the audience. If you prefer to watch, our theatre seating provides a comfortable vantage point to enjoy the show, undisturbed by the eerie events unfolding below. Don't miss your chance to be part of this exclusive original show set in the hauntingly beautiful ambience of Blackfriars Priory. And I will say hauntingly beautiful because it is haunted. And you can come to a haunted venue. You can't do any ghost hunting there because there's an actual show. Cherries on a Cloud Productions and Events, which is www.cherriesonacloud.com, has all the information you need. So go there, get yourself a ticket. I'll be there on stage. You can see me. But until then, all I can possibly say now is goodbye, 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 my spooky friend.